What's up, fam? Welcome to another episode of Freedom Found Podcast, where I help you move from I hate Mondays to I absolutely love what I do. I am your host, Coach Amy P. And today we're going to be talking about freelance and consulting opportunities. You know, last week we actually talked about, so you jumped off that job. Now what? And we kind of talked about some of the things, what you need to do when you've left your job and you're out there. What are the options for you? But today we're going to really dig deep around how you can leverage your skills to build a fulfilling and flexible career, okay? All while staying grounded in your faith. So that's what we're going to get into today. Let's buckle those seatbelts. Let's get into it.
You're looking for that freedom found.
Eleanor Roosevelt says, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Man, I so agree with that quote. You know, this quote actually emphasizes the importance of having faith in your aspirations, in your ability to see a better future. And so as a freelancer and a consultant, and now a coach, I actually can't imagine a space where I'm not pursuing the things that I absolutely love. Every fiber of my being has always heard and felt the notion of you are an entrepreneur. You know, even when I worked a full-time job, I felt this nudge or this pull to just do my own thing, right? And so regardless of how distant or how grandiose your goals are, your dreams may seem, believing in the value and potential of your dream will provide the motivation you need to push yourself forward to overcome any challenge and achieve future success. So, what is freelancing and consulting anyway? Let's get into this. Based on definition, freelancing involves offering your specific skills or services to multiple clients on a project-by-project basis. In consulting, typically, it looks like providing expert advice and strategic direction to businesses in your field of expertise. Both paths offer freedom, variety, and the ability to control your schedule and workload. So considering freelancing or consulting is a great option for you if you just transition from your 9-to-5 job. You know, I've been a graphic designer, freelancer since the age of 16, believe it or not. And I've also been a consultant, a learning and development consultant for about 6 years now. And since starting my business, I've never actually looked back. There's so much freedom and flexibility and fulfillment in really pursuing both these options, whether you just want to freelance, you want to work a bunch of projects for a lot of clients, or you want to consult, you want to offer up your expertise to businesses or to whoever that need consulting services in a space, right? You know, like platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, LinkedIn, they've made it so easy to really connect with clients all over the place, all over the world, you know, and the demand for a specialized skill from like graphic design, instructional design, writing to business strategy, IT, consulting, it's booming. Like it's really booming, guys. Okay. So keep your head up because there are many opportunities for you. If this is you, you are interested in freelancing or consulting. So what's up, family? Coach Amy P here. Are you waking up on Mondays feeling like you are stuck in a job that you do not love? Listen, I get it. But guess what? It does not have to be that way. My coaching services, you can break free from the I hate Monday cycle and start saying, I love what I do. Imagine waking up excited for work, feeling fulfilled on purpose for your destiny, saying, I absolutely love what I do. Don't let another day go by feeling unfulfilled and uninspired. Visit CoachAmyP.com today. Matter of fact, right now to submit your discovery session. Let's unlock your fullest potential, discover your passions, and create the career you absolutely love, whether it's on the job or off the job. I can't wait to help you on this journey. Let's get back to the episode. One of my clients, I want to tell you a little story. One of my clients, just for reference, I had a client. Let's just call this client, for the sake of this podcast, let's call my client Keisha. And Keisha was a corporate marketing executive, right? She felt unfulfilled on her job. You know, she felt the urge to be able to leave and transition out. So she started taking on small freelance projects over the weekend. So Keisha, with her faith guiding her, she decided to take that leap from her corporate job. And today, Keisha runs a successful freelancing business, working with clients she loves and having time for her family and her faith. Okay. Another one of my clients, let's just call him John, right? John actually was a seasoned IT professional, and he felt that he had more to offer from his 9-to-5 job, and so encouraged by me, coached by me, of course, and motivated by his faith, John started a consulting side hustle, right? And he started helping small businesses improve their IT infrastructure. And within a year, John actually transitioned fully into consulting, tripling his income and finding satisfaction in his work. And just like John and Keisha, I actually wasn't fulfilled on my job. And so I transitioned out, and I already kind of had a freelancing business on the side because, like I said, I started my freelancing at 16. So I've always had a freelancing job on the side of all of my full-time jobs. But by faith, I decided to take that leap. And within a matter of weeks, I actually doubled my income from consulting. I was so surprised that I was able to double my income so fast. It was a matter of just believing that I was worth the value, or I had the value. Well, it was a matter of believing that I was worth what I was charging. And so I decided to just put it out there. So if you're experiencing any type of fear right now, remember, fear is that false evidence appearing real. Don't assume something that you absolutely don't know or hasn't happened yet. One of my favorite quotes is, the best way to predict the future is to actually create it, right? And so let's break some of this down. I'm going to go to my whiteboard. I'm actually not going to go to my whiteboard. I'm going to show you on the screen. But I want to break some of this down because you may be asking yourself, okay, what do I need to do to be able to really enter this space, So I'm going to share some things with you right now. So the first thing you really want to do is, let's start with the freelancing side of things. So what I want you to do, and I'm going to give you the plan, I'm going to give you the exact steps that I did whenever I first made that transition. And so the very first thing you want to do is really start crafting your freelance profile. Okay. And a freelance profile is really like, it's an avatar of sorts, to where, okay, if a person is looking at your profile, whether they're on LinkedIn, whether they're on some type of website, maybe they're in another, Upwork or another tool, they get an understanding or have an overview of who you are in terms of your skills. What you want to do right now, go ahead and write down skills at the top of your paper. And I want you to list 3 to 5 marketable skills that you have currently right now. My top 3 skills: instructional design, graphic design, people development. I'm just going to write those 3 down for now. So people development, I look at that as learning and development, coaching, personal and professional development. People, I've always been told that I'm really good with people. They're like, put Amy on a team because she'll get people rounds up. She'll, build camaraderie with the team, and people will perform better if they have Amy on the team. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I've heard this over and over again. No matter what environment I've been in, I've been able to round up people and to, really motivate and encourage them to work better together. And so people development is one of my strong suits. So I want you to write down your top 3 skills right now, right? All right. The next thing you want to do is think about your portfolio. And a lot of times, I know with portfolios, we think visually. If you are creative, you definitely want to think about your visual portfolio. But if you're in IT or if you're in marketing or something like that, you still can think about 3 to 5, pretty strong examples of your best work. Okay. And so for me, because I am a graphic designer, instructional designer, I usually have, when I created my portfolio, I kind of collected my best work that showcased, my best work. And what I did in terms of my visuals, I also wrote up case studies that explain, okay, what the problem was and the solution that I provided for that client. So you can structure your portfolio, visually, or you can structure your portfolio with written examples, case studies, or a combination of all 3. And so think about your best work. If someone asks you today, hey, let me see samples of your work, what have you been able to do? Can you share that with me? Either you're going to send them to your website or you're going to share your freelancing profile. And that's what I want you to start thinking about, your freelancing profile. Okay. The next thing I want you to think about are your rates. So you want to start to research and set your competitive rates. Okay. Define your floor. Let me repeat that again. When you're setting your rates, you're going to have to do some research and define your floor. What I mean by this is there should be a ground level to where you're like, I absolutely have to make this in order to take care of myself, my expenses, and whatever your investments are. Before you do anything else, your basic needs have to be met. This is going to help you say no to clients that may respond outside of your rate or at a lower rate than what you need to take care of yourself. So go ahead and define your floor. and only you know what your expenses are. Okay. And just a rule of thumb, there's a budgeting rule that I like to use. I like to suggest to my clients. And this budgeting rule is the one that I use is 50-30-20, meaning 50% of your income should go towards your basic needs and your expenses. 30% of your income need to be reinvested back into your business. And that may look like personal investments too. So training for yourself, coaching for yourself, any type of investments. And then 20% need to be saved. Or you can put your investment into like savings or additional investments. And so that's my rule. I use the 50-30-20 rule. Some people use the 70-20-10, which is 70% expenses, 20% investment back into your business, and then 10% saved. Or you can do like a 75-15-10. You can decide how you want to split your revenue, but do think about your budget and where your money needs to go. So while you're doing this research, if you've already defined your floor, if you know 50% of your income needs to go to support your personal expenses, then you already know what your base level is. You must make a certain amount of money in order to cover your personal expenses, or you will always be in the negative, and you don't want to be in the negative. So think about that. Think about your expenses. Think about where you want to invest and then how much you want to save. Okay. So definitely research and look at what everybody else is charging so that you can be competitive. The next thing I would do is think about the platforms that you want to use or you may want to start with. So I would think about 1 to 2 of these platforms where you can go ahead and start posting your freelance profile to. For example, when I first transitioned out, I immediately updated my resume. I immediately updated my portfolio and my website to speak to me as being open to really network and open to doing work with people. So you want to think about what are your major platforms. I know LinkedIn, number 1 for me, and then Upwork. I've always received a ton of projects from Upwork. There are some other ones that I use as well, which I'll probably share in my notes. But yeah, go ahead and do your research and write down what are the platforms that you want to use or that you want to post your freelance profile to. Because when clients do start reaching out or when you start marketing your services, you're going to want to share that link or share that platform with your client so they can get an understanding of your portfolio, what you've been able to do. After setting all of that stuff up and really setting these profiles up, you may be saying, well, how did you actually get the clients to respond to you? And I will say, what I did, I just leveraged my personal relationships. I was already working with certain clients, while I was on the job. And so I maintained those relationships. I immediately reached out and said, hey, I'm now freelancing. I'm actually consulting in the space. Would you be interested in maybe learning more about my services? And it started like that. And once I kind of updated, LinkedIn is really good, y'all. Once I updated my LinkedIn profile, I kind of marked myself as open to connect, open to network. I received so many requests, so many connections on a weekly basis to where people were like, hey, I'm actually interested in your service. Or, hey, I actually have this contract. Are you interested in working this project with me? And from there, I started working projects and I just received personal referrals for the longest. I literally connected with the people that were already in my circle and I started asking questions. I started showing up where they were and sharing with them that I was available to work, and they booked me. Literally just like that. I know it's not that easy, but literally, guys, that's what I did in my beginning phases, in the beginning phase of my freelancing work. All right, so let's look at the consulting side of things. So when I became a consultant, like I said, I was already freelancing when I decided to really fully transition off my job and work consulting projects. The very first thing I did, I spent some time defining my niche. And I know you guys probably have overheard, define your niche, but it's true. You have to figure out, okay, what problems are you actually trying to solve? For me, I am an instructional designer. So me, it was like learning and development solutions for small businesses. I had to sit down and really think about, the what, the who, the when, the where, the why, and the how. And if you've never heard of the golden rule or starting with why, I would suggest that you go pick that book up right now. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. And another book I would recommend is Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. Once you start working projects and booking clients, you want to continue to build your portfolio based on the work that you're doing for your clients so that you can continue to get repeat business. A lot of times you work with a client one time, you do a really good job, they'll call you back. They'll want you to return for their next project and their next project and their next project. And you just build relationships from there. I've been able to maintain many of my clients just because of the relationship. I've worked hundreds of projects for them because of the relationship that I've maintained with my current clientele. The next thing you want to do is network. So when I transitioned out, I knew I wanted to connect with like professional groups and industry related groups. I started attending, events just to build connections, to let people know that I'm available. And so some of the networks that I'm associated with, Atlanta Black Chambers, Cobb Chamber of Commerce, I am a member of ATD, which is the Association of Talent and Development. I was a member of the Gathering Spot once. And I even had a co-working space over at Shared Space. And I've done WeWork in the past. So I've kind of moved about in different groups to actually establish and build connections and relationships with people in my industry. And from those relationships, I've received referrals. And so I would not be able to do any of this stuff without my faith. I'm going to be real. Faith is like, I agree with Dr. Martin Luther King. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. And that's what I did. I decided to take the first step. God did everything else. It wasn't until I jumped out there, actually started having a problem to solve, that I realized my potential and my problem solving ability, my genius, as they say. I had a plan, but that plan, it never really looked like the steps that I took. Okay. My actual steps required faith. My plan was just a guide. I just created a guide, and God did everything else. Seriously. And just like Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This gave me so much reassurance that regardless of what happened, his plans were to prosper me and not harm me. Okay, this gave me so much confidence in what I was doing, just to pursue my dreams. What he put inside of me, I was able to pursue those things based on that scripture alone, because I knew God wasn't going to leave me out there. I knew God wasn't going to harm me. And so that was enough for me alone. But, Proverbs 16:3 also says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. If this word is true and you commit your plans, commit whatever you do, regardless of what you're doing right now. It doesn't even matter. If you commit everything to him, your plans will succeed. This is what his word says. And then Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Yes, you can. These three scriptures, I actually recite them almost every day and throughout my day to remind me that this journey is a divine one, and it's guided by my faith and dedication and hard work. And I can achieve the freedom and fulfillment I seek by trusting in God. I believe that with all of me. And you can too, if you just believe. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow is our doubts of today. That's what Franklin Roosevelt says. All right, here are the questions. Number 1, what unique skills or experiences do I possess that could be monetized as a freelance service or consulting offering? How can I leverage my existing network to find my first freelance or consulting client? In what ways can I align my work with my faith to ensure I find fulfillment and purpose beyond just financial success? And number 4, what steps can I take today to start building a portfolio or case studies that will attract potential clients? Listen, I want you to take action. Normally, if you take action within 24 hours of setting a goal or deciding to make a change, you actually will accomplish that thing that you set out to do. Okay, so take action right now within the next 24 hours. Sit with these questions. Really sit with the questions. Think about your responses to these questions and see what happens. Okay, so as we wrap up this episode, remember that this journey is one of faith. Okay, it's one of courage, and it's going to take a lot of strategic planning, of course, but embrace the freedom and fulfillment that comes from pursuing your God-given talents, okay, and passions, all right? So embrace that. Thank you for listening. Listen, guys, thank you so much for listening to Freedom Found Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Amy P. If you found this episode helpful, please, by all means, share it with other people that may use it, that may benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights and encouragement on your entrepreneurial journey. Until next time, stay blessed and stay inspired.